Cek, cek, belum kedengaran.
Hello, can you hear my voice? Okay, thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Welcome to our international webinar entitled Challenge and Opportunity in Education 4.0. This international webinar series is held by Faculty of Islamic Studies, Alma-Ata University. Faculty of Islamic Studies, Alma-Ata University consists of 4 departments: Departments of Islamic Banking, Department of Islamic Education, Department of Islamic Economics, and Department of Islamic Elementary Education. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us today in this international webinar. Before we start our webinar, I would like to read out some rules that you will need to follow during this international webinar. You are not allowed to open your camera and also your microphone during the webinar. If you have any question, you can type your question in the chat, and also you can also type in the comment section in the YouTube channel if you are following us through the YouTube channel. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our webinar today, let's recite an Al-Fatihah together. Liridhoillah wali syafaati Rasulillah wali kulli niyatin salihah. Al-Fatihah.
Recording in progress.
اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
Amen. Thank you. Let me start our webinar today by saying greeting to Alma-Ata Foundation Board of Honor, the head, Kiai Haji Muhammad Nur, Alma-Ata Foundation Board of Honor members, Dr. Handa Haja Siti Salihah, Mrs. Siti Durroh Nafisa, and also Mr. Muhammad Razif Arza. The Honorable Rector of Alma-Ata University, Professor Hamamadi, M.D., M.S., S.Pd, and also the head of Alma-Ata Foundation, Dr. Handa Haja Ida Rufaida. And also, we will have some important guests as the key speaker of our webinar today. The first one, I would like to give the warmest greeting to the Honorable Dr. Nick M.D. Saiful Azizi bin Nick Abdullah from International Islamic University of Malaysia, our very best partner. And then we are also going to have our warmest greeting to the Honorable Associate Professor Dr. Ibrahim Narongraksakhet from Prince of Songkla University, also one of our best partner. We would like also to give our warmest welcome to our lecturer from Faculty of Islamic Studies, Dr. Ahmad Salim, and also Dr. Akhsanul Fuadi, who are going to deliver 2 important topics of our seminar today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going now to step up to the next agenda, which is singing the national anthem and March Alma-Ata.
martabat Indonesiaku. Dengan ilmu berkarya bermodal iman takwa, Alma akan maju jaya. Tanamkan dalam hati visi kesejahteraan, sinarilah dengan iman. Hormati perbedaan budaya dan pikiran sebagai rahmat seluruh alam. Kobarkan semangatmu, sing-singkan lengan maju demi kejayaan negerimu. Tingkatkanlah ilmumu, rendahkanlah hatimu, kan gemilang masa depanmu. Hadir karenamu, agungkan namamu, dan martabat Indonesiaku. Dengan ilmu berkarya bermodal iman takwa, Alma akan maju jaya. Tanamkan dalam hati visi kesejahteraan, sinarilah dengan iman. Hormati perbedaan budaya dan pikiran sebagai rahmat seluruh alam. Kobarkan semangatmu, sing-singkan dengan maju demi kejayaan negerimu. Tingkatkanlah ilmumu, rendahkanlah hatimu, kan gemilang masa depanmu.
Emang gitu puisi apa yang kisah? Apa yang dilihat gratis?
Thank you for singing the national anthem and also Mars Amata all together with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming step to the next agenda, which is reciting the Quran, the Holy Quran. To the Honorable Mr. Abdul Karim Amrullah, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
A'udzu billahi minasy syaithanir rajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء نحوه سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى صدق الله العظيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Thank you for Mr. Abdul Karim Amrullah for the Holy Quran recitation. Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the next agenda, which is the opening speech from Alma-Ata University Rector. To the Honorable Professor M.Pd.I, M.D., M.S., S.Pd, the time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Selamat pagi Bapak Ibu sekalian yang kami hormati. It is a great blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, and it is a wonderful opportunity for us that today we can hold this seminar entitled as the New Era Challenge and Opportunity in Education 4.0. First of all, I would like to thank to the respected speakers, Professor Dr. Nix Muhammad Saiful Azizi bin Nik Abdullah from International Islamic University, Malaysia, and also our respected speakers, Professor Dr. Ibrahim Narongraksakhet from Prince Songkla University, as well as respected speaker from the University of Alma-Ata, our brother Dr. Ahmad Salim, and also Dr. Akhsanul Fuadi. Ladies and gentlemen, we also would like to thanks to the Dean of the Faculty of Islamic Studies, University of Alma-Ata, and staff. They are people who are arranging this seminar, and therefore I would like thank you very much. Yeah. And I believe that this seminar will go successfully, and I would think that this seminar will be beneficial for everyone who attend this seminar today. Ladies and gentlemen, as the rector of the University of Alma-Ata, I really appreciate for the presence of Dr. Nik Muhammad Saiful Azizi from the International University to participate in this seminar. Although we don't have the memorandum of understanding at this moment, but I would think that in the near future, we would like to arrange the memorandum of understanding by which we can explore potential activities that would be beneficial for Alma-Ata University and also for the International Islamic University, Malaysia. Either in the education field or in other field within Alma-Ata University and also within the International Islamic University. I would like also to thank Professor Ibrahim from PSU. Thank you very much for participating in this seminar. Indeed, we have memorandum of understanding between Alma-Ata University and PSU. And therefore, again, I would say that this is a realization of this memorandum of understanding between two universities. I would suggest our lecturer, our faculty members from Alma-Ata University to further explore the potential activities that could be could be conducted between Alma-Ata University and Alma-Ata University partners, such as Prince Songkla University and also other university, including also our newcomers from Malaysia, which is International Islamic University Malaysia, especially in the field of education. As we all know today, that we are facing a very challenging new era, post-pandemic COVID-19. From now and in the future, we have to explore a new system. We have to explore new technology, which is more applicable, which is more relevant to our future, in which, as we all know today, we cannot conduct class meeting face-to-face with our students, as we may expect to do so as normally before pandemic. Indeed, we have to explore a new technology, new education system together, which is more applicable for this new era and also, in the education 4.0 in the future. We have to think that education technology is improving very well, so that we can be connected each other more easily. Not only within the country, but also between countries, as we do know, as we are doing right now. Therefore, I would like to really push our faculty members from Alma-Ata University to really explore potential collaboration activities, potential collaborative activities between Alma-Ata University, Prince Songkla University, International Islamic University Malaysia, and also other universities in the world, in terms of how to improve our education system and also education technology, which is more applicable for our future. I would like to dream that in the future, our school in Indonesia, elementary school, secondary school, and also the university would be more easily connected with school and universities in the world, and more especially between countries in ASEAN countries such as Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, and so on. And I would think that today is the beginning to start to do so, to start to make our future together, to make our best future together between Indonesia, between people Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Thailand, and in other countries in the world. But I would start with countries, with people from countries in ASEAN, countries like Malaysia and also Thailand. So I have a dream that one day there would be more students at elementary school, secondary school, and study together. So, children from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand can study together in one room. And today's technology can make it more easily. So I would suggest, especially to our faculty members, to really explore these potential collaborative activities, not only to think, education system within the university, but try to explore to improve our quality schooling in the future between this country, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, also Singapore, and especially ASEAN countries. So again, I would say that this is one of the our start to improve collaborative activity, more resilient education system and technology in the future. And therefore, again, I would like to thank you very much, Professor Nick and also Professor Ibrahim from Malaysia and also from Thailand to participate this seminar. And I believe that our future, by conducting this kind of webinar and probably more other collaborative activities, would be better and better. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this thing I would say today, and again, thank you very much. And by saying Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I would like to officially open this international seminar. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, and Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, I officially open this seminar, and I believe this seminar will be beneficial for everyone who attend this and participate this seminar. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Am I good? Hello?
Udah kedengaran.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much for Professor M.Pd.I, who has given us such insight and underline what we are doing today in this seminar and the hopes for the better education system and also education partnership between Alma-Ata University, Prince of Songkla University, and also University of Islamic, International Islamic University of Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, before we start and we step through the main webinar, I would like to ask everyone for now to open the camera because we are going to have a photo session together with all the honorable guests, with all the key speakers, with all the happy participants together as our documentation. Thank you. Please open your camera. Okay, please open the camera again. And let the committee take your picture, your happy picture. Okay, hold, smile, smile, hold on, smiles. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for everyone who are willingly to join us and willingly to open the camera and take the picture together with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now going to the main webinar, which will be delivered by our lovely moderator from Faculty of Islamic Studies. I would like to introduce to you Miss Ika Tri Susilowati, Bachelor of Education, Magister of Education. She is one of the lecturer from Faculty of Islamic Studies, mastering in English education. So, Miss Ika, are you already there in the room?
Okay, I'm ready. Thank you, Mr. Cahya.
Yeah, thank you. How are you today?
I'm fine, but
Okay.
little nervous.
Never little nervous, of course, because this is a very challenging and very apa ya, very occasion international seminar between
Yes.
Alma University and then Prince of Songkla University and also International Islamic University of Malaysia. Okay, so I think the time is yours, Miss Ika. Please
Thank you. Yes.
forward. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Cahya. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Miss. How's your day?
I'm fine, thank you, and you?
I'm fine too.
And you.
I'm fine too. Okay. Thanks to participate this seminar, this webinar. I hope all of you enjoy for this webinar today. Okay. Now I want to begin the mind of the webinar. The respectable director of Alma University, Professor Dr. M.Pd.I, M.Sc.D, S.Pd, the respectable, the Dean of Faculty of Islamic Studies, Alma University, Dr. Candidate Matalia Ardianingrum, M.Pd, the Honorable all the today's speakers, Dr. Nick Muhammad Saiful Azizi bin Nick Abdullah from International Islamic University of Malaysia, Associated Professor Dr. Ibrahim Narongraksakhet from Songkla University, Thailand, as well as Dr. Ahmad Salim, M.Pd, and Dr. Akhsanul Fuadi, M.Pd, who serve a lecture in Alma University, Yogyakarta. The Honorable all lecturer of the Alma University, and last but not least, the Honorable all the participants of this webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Ika Tri Susilowati, the moderator of today's seminar. I am very pleased to see you here and welcome all of you to this seminar. Today's seminar is about the new era, challenge, and opportunity in education 4.0. Before the presentation begins, let me inform you how the presentation will be going on. First, all the speakers will be invited to present the material for about 20 minutes. After all the speakers delivering the material, there will be a question and answer session and followed by a conclusion or closing statements by each speaker. Ladies and gentlemen, we are stepping to our main event. Our first speaker today is Dr. Ahmad Salim, M.Pd. Mr. Salim comes from Yogyakarta. He is a lecturer at Alma University. He graduated from Cokro Aminoto University of Yogyakarta with bachelor's degree majoring in Islamic education. He took his master's degree majoring in education management from the State University of Yogyakarta. Mr. Salim has received his doctoral program majoring in Islamic educational from Islamic State University, Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Mr. Dr. Ahmad Salim, M.Pd., to deliver his presentation.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Mr. Salim, yes. Mr. Salim, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, maybe I would like to share my presentation.
Yes.
Can you see it? Everyone can see it?
Can.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah alamin. First of all, I would like to thank to God who give us His mercy and blessing until we can attend in this meeting, in this webinar international seminar series. Then solawat and greeting to our prophets Muhammad, peace be upon him, who guide us from the darkness to the enlightenment. Honorable to Mr. Muhammad Nur, who is the chairman of Alma Foundation. Honorable to Dr. Fuadi Ali, who is executive Alma Foundation. And I'm very respected to Professor Dr. Hamadi M.Pd., who is Rector Alma University, Jakarta, Indonesia. And I also respect to keynote speaker here from Songkla University, Ibrahim Narongraksakhet, and from International Islamic University of Malaysia, Professor Saiful Azizi, and also to Dr. Akhsanul Fuadi from Alma University. And I also respected to all participants who joined in this seminar today. And I also very respected to the Dean of Faculty of Islamic Studies, Martalia Adinandrium, who give us this opportunity to join it in this seminar. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in this opportunity, I would like to deliver my presentation. In the title of my presentation today is The Changing of Social Community and Student Learning Behavior During COVID-19. Okay, as we know, ladies and gentlemen, that's the coronavirus or COVID-19 has been spread in all countries, including in Indonesia. Not only in Indonesia, but also in all countries in the world infected by coronavirus now. It impacted to various aspects in human life, in economic, in culture, education, social, even in a political aspect. And so in social life or social aspect, we can classify into many aspects. For example, in this, like in this my presentation, or like in my point, the first is difficulty interacting with others. The next is family relation become closer. So internet access support, lifestyle change, and serious about COVID-19. Okay, we will discuss one by one. Difficulty interacting with others. As human, a social being, It needs interaction or link or contact with others. It implements in many aspects of life. In global world, interaction people with other not only in the same ethnic, but also can in different ethnic, race, and also in different religion and countries. But no, people are cut off from normal interaction. Okay, can you hear myself? Okay, I will continue. People are cut off from normal social interaction due to the restriction of several social activities in formal and informal sectors like closing school, workshop places, public meeting, tourism place, and others. And with exception in the vital or the vital sector, like maybe in hospital, police, uh, police office, and the energy sector, it is maybe can be open at that. So delaying and restrictions for celebration in communities such as music concert, wedding party, public Islamic teaching, and Indonesia independence celebration is the delay or in the be restriction. As we know that in Indonesia, on on welcoming Independent Day on in 17 August, many celebration activities done by people like traditional contests, marching, and other activities. But no, this activity be restriction because uh, uh, the rule from government, we must usually the allow to the restriction to go anywhere or to go at the door. So in the next, because the restriction maybe it is have the beneficial from the family. So when the family can relation the family become closer, stay at home can give us more opportunities to spend time together as a family. It can build relationship and help our children feel happier, safer, more relaxed during this experience, making harmony at family. But it is in a well-being or rich family, but unfortunately, in a poor family or not being family, in this condition is very against. A negative impact on poor family, like causing bedroom due to small houses. It can impact because of lack of space to express their activity. Many people have not big room in small houses, so each and other cannot be free to express this activity. So the next in changing in lifestyle or lifestyle changings. As we know, that's in reality and community, actually, almost people aware of the COVID-19 dangers throughout their life. So they are ready to allow the rule of restriction in many aspects, such as in fashion, maybe they usually know wear mask. So in activity, they almost wash hand, restriction to go anywhere or go indoor, and more maintain healthy and environment cleaning. No, like see in the pictures, it is maybe more people or all people here to go in the door by wearing mask. So next, okay. So in internet as a support with social distancing or restriction measure that new norm across the globe, we are living our life online. Uh, online 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 the activity, not only in education sector, but on all the our activity, it is through online now. From online learning to work from home, as we know, that's no teacher, maybe a staff teacher, or they usually work from home because the restriction of measure the education the COVID-19 and the live streaming religious services into through the online. So even wedding and funeral activity through by online. Okay, by online also. So COVID-19 pandemic actually has amplified deep existing inequalities in adorable and meaningful connectivity. And no, as we know, that internet access is public good and basic human right that can reduce the sense of isolation manifest during this period. This may be different from the before pandemic. That's maybe the interaction each and other people in a society which usually face-to-face meeting, but no, they use online media. So the access to internet is become the basic human right now. Okay, which we can you see in the picture here. That's all people here maybe busy with her or himself. They are do, but they are like alone, like this. This may be that activity or the reality that can see in anymore and any aware in our society. Okay, so now how about serious COVID-19? As we know that because in modern era, people can access COVID-19 news very easy, more easy than before, than in traditional era. So every day they can listen, they can hear the news about people who infected COVID. Even people they cause it, they realistically make many people aware and not comfortable with this condition, and then sometimes it's make the fear and stress because maybe every day from the TV channel, newspaper, or and other online media usually share the COVID-19 case in every day. So now what is the many pattern of how the social or the people can respond in the condition based on the theory of response. The people respond of on the reality of a community or the reality of human life is can classified into three things. The first is refusing, and then adaptation, and this other and modification. What is refusing? Of course, rejecting. Rejecting it is resist the role of the social physical distancing. But maybe no. I think number two. Almost people to are ready to almost allow the government policy. I think almost people know in number two or second classification. I think so. And many people are usually are ready to adapt the situation. For example, receiving the role of physical distancing as maintain distinct, wear mask, so wash hand and take responsibility for their own health and those around them. And then maybe in the last one is modification. That is a classification from the how people can respond in the reality of human life. Modification is alteration, usually to make something work better, maybe improving some activities into different from usually. It is maybe an innovative activity that we can done differ from the usually or the before. For example, wear mask with many accessories, maybe it's see more like full and looking full. Yeah. So say using uncrowded hotel to work. It is maybe Alma University, like in the seminar maybe, or in yesterday, do like that maybe. So using in the outdoor meeting to do work like that. So now we can say about the student behavior changing after COVID-19, or implication of COVID-19 in the student behavior learning. As we know, that's in normal condition, students go to school and meet with their peer. As we know, that's maybe teacher and academic staff. And of course, the situation, it makes harmony in the context of interaction among them. But no, all students be forced to study independently without with their teacher. So it is, I can say this condition may be transitioning to learning online. All students now, almost all students know online learning by online, and then transitioning to learn without their teacher, of course, because maybe they can see their teacher virtual, not face to face or net reality, and then utilizing familiar platform. Okay, it is maybe new education technology from them, because in new normal, I mean in before, they not usual to, not habit to using this platform, and then transitioning to reduce social contact with peer and teacher in learning environment. Of course, that is may say like before, and then transitioning to letting parent caregiver as their teacher. Yeah, it is maybe the obligation of teacher, so now alter to the parent, because the student almost do anything learning activity by at home. Okay, now in parent preschool, or that's the parent who have their children, they school in preschool, primary, secondary school, learning new platform now. But in university, maybe a learning by learning platform or LMS model. It is maybe usual or habits. But in primary or secondary school, it is maybe new platform from him or from them. Okay, so supporting their children in online, of course, the environment, for example, more parent environment, new learning curve for some parent, and it is the big problem, maybe balancing the role of education student with other role at home, and share device for learning. For example, some home only have one electronic tool in the house. It's maybe big problem for to the poor family, that's they have only one electronic tool. That's in some time maybe they many students that must have a student in the same time. It's the problem. But maybe in for to the Wengpil's family, it's no problem, because maybe one child, they he or she has one electronic tool. But unfortunately, to the poor family, that they have many children, but they have only one electronic tool. It's a problem, I think. So from educators, as we know that educator, from educator, maybe there are many differences between or differences differ from the before. For example, teacher class online. No, something new learning curve for teacher. But I think this is maybe not the new, but maybe the new habit for to the all teacher. No, because almost education system now through by online. So of course the educator or the teacher must engage with student online, of course. So setting assessment online, creating online, and the others. It is the most important thing I would like to say for you are about this. It is maybe the job from the teacher or educator is usually to engage student to give hope or big motivation, so our children or our student can adjust in the dynamic social and community. As until now, anybody know what the pandemic can be finished or be the end. So I think we as a teacher must usually engage with our student with the good or big motivation, so we or they can usually adjust or adapt with the dynamic social in the neck, I think like that. So the last one is the pictures. I would like say in these pictures maybe one by one. It is maybe a model interaction between the all system in the community. From the below it is maybe uh, basic level. It is individual. So in the middle is the organization. So in the peak of level is the national or the state or local levels. It has to integrate each and other to attain the goal of well-being community. Okay, I think that's all my presentation, and because maybe time is up, so I'm so sorry or my message to you, and my vocation I share to moderator. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Salim, for giving us such an insightful presentation. Okay, for your presentation, the main point is we are still in the era of COVID-19 pandemic, so we must have the spirit to carry out and continue our activities, working and learning, with implementing health protocols correctly. And don't forget, remember about the 5 points: wearing masks, washing your hand, keep our distance, stay away from the crowd, and reduce our mobility. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to the second speaker. Our second speaker today is Mr. Dr. Nik Muhammad Saiful Azizi bin Nik Abdullah. He has received his Bachelor of Holy Quran and Islamic Studies from Islamic University of Medina, Saudi Arabia in 2004. He took his Master of Islamic Studies from University Kebangsaan Malaysia, Pengi in 2009, majoring in Al-Quran and Al-Sunnah Studies, and his Doctor of Philosophy, majoring in Education in International Islamic University Malaysia, Gombak in 2014. Besides, he has professional qualification, certificate of his Al-Quran Al-Karim Saudi Arabia, ijazah sanad his Al-Quran riwayat Haf an Asim Saudi Arabia, certificate his Al-Quran Saudi Arabia 2004. As we can see in his CV, he has an outstanding track record in research project, article publication, book, conference, and international keynote speaker. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Mr. Saiful, to deliver his presentation. Mr. Saiful, the floor is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Allahumma shalli ala Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Thank you, Ms. Chairperson. I would like to thank the organizer, Alma University, the Honorable Rector, Prof. M.Pd.I, respected deans, the distinguished speakers, and my colleagues. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, May this time reach you while you are in the great iman and great health by the grace of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. I would like to take this opportunity to wish everyone a blessed and graceful day, especially during this COVID-19 period. May Allah protect us from all calamities and make our life easier and fill our heart with mercy, peace and harmony.
Amin.
Our topic today is current educational behavior in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, we will focus on some issues related to the challenges and impact of COVID-19 on the Malaysian education system, especially in higher education institutions, mental health issues among lecturers and students, graduate employability, implication and recommendations. All of this focusing on Malaysian context. Brothers and sisters, the COVID-19 pandemic and its far-reaching implications will continue to unfold in many sectors globally. Education has changed dramatically with distinctive rise of online learning, where teaching are done remotely on digital platforms. In Malaysia, the implementation of the Movement Control Order MC, we call it MCO, in the middle of March 2020, resulted in higher education institutions to fully switch to online learning with unprecedented challenges. The mental stress among lecturers in Malaysia who have to migrate to online learning is beyond comprehension for 4 reasons. Firstly, they must learn to use the learning management system before conducting online class in the shortest possible time, with little training and preparation. No weighing pros and cons, no strategies. Lecturers just switch to online teaching. Hence, the quality of the teaching and learning may be compromised. Secondly, some lecturers do not subscribe to strong internet services at home. They use their full network to do teaching preparation, online tutorial, and stay connected with students. This hinders the effectiveness and efficiency of online learning. Thirdly, lecturers need to change the assessment to suit to the online environment. For instance, converting the final exam to coursework or take-home exam. Will the change of assessment still be able to achieve unique learning outcomes? This is the questions. Last but not least, making assessment online. Expose lecturers to computer vision syndrome, as lecturers must use computer for long hours to read and provide feedback electronically. Besides, answering endless student questions via email have been a daily routine since the pandemic outbreak. All the above cause much anxiety, panic, and stress to the lecturers. Brothers and sisters, nevertheless, there are universities and colleges in Malaysia that are caught flat-footed due to inadequate infrastructure and sources to support online learning. This raises question of how the student can complete courses on time, especially those who are being offered a scholarship or loan. A press release date 27 May 2020 from a Ministry of Higher Education Malaysia indicate that all classes in both public and private higher education institutions are to be conducted online till the end of December 2020 and continuing until now. There wasn't the scenario a student who are enrolled in the higher education institution with limited learning management system facilities will be not able to continue with their studies online. Actually, switching to other higher education institutions may seem to be good solutions, but the unavailability of the cost, location, and fees could be a hindrance to the students. Even though Malaysia has over 80% internet penetration, the infrastructure gap between West and East Malaysia is huge. For instance, people living in capital city, West Malaysia, are enjoying speed-mart internet, enjoying high-speed internet, up to 800 megabytes per second, compared with Sabah and Sarawak. We call it East Malaysia. With slower speed, with some areas without access to the internet at all. A student representative of University Malaysia Sabah reported that the internet connectivity in rural areas is weak. The unequal internet infrastructure between East and West Malaysia brings this discrepancy to student access to online education and performance. A study conducted by Hampton 2020 indicate that students in the United States of America who has no access to broadband and mobile device perform poorly compared to students with broadband access. In the same context, a research study conducted among students in the Faculty of Information Management, Mara University of Technology, Malaysia, revealed that the use of online media in education help in improving academic performance. Brothers and sisters, online learning has brought significant challenges to students. Some students struggle with e-learning as lecturers tend to give students more assignments. Students do not have the flexibility to interact with lecturers and friends as compared to classroom learning. In face-to-face learning, students and lecturers can see each other's body language and maintain eye contact. However, in the online setting, this is replaced by audio and video, which can be disruptive when the line connection is not good. Student consultation can only be done at a predetermined time. That is when lecturers and students are logged in to the learning management platform concurrently. Ladies and gentlemen, in short, promoting student engagement through active learning can be a huge obstacle as online learning limits group discussion integration during the online class. Next, we are talking about mental health issues. The recent research trend demonstrates that 50% of Malaysians underwent negative mental health during the MCO. Previously, when the MCO entered the third phase, it is estimated that there were almost 80,000 students who were still on campus nationwide, excluding those renting outside the campus in Malaysia. The use of hashtag stay at home or stay at campus to encourage students to stay in the campus was not easy for them. Running a stay at campus campaign by using short videos in social media portraying smiling students did not reflect a true feeling of the students. Their living conditions have changed drastically. and are faced with many emotional effects such as stress, loneliness, and increased depression occurrences. On the contrary, the pandemic also brought some positive impact to education. The current crisis provides golden opportunity for universities around the world to test remote learning approach and at the same time provide students with full experience of using technology supported learning. In addition, it provides a chance for both lecturers and students to learn and use the many functions of e-learning system and applications. Furthermore, the uses of papers is reduced significantly as all assignments are submitted online. Brothers and sisters, now we are talking about graduate employability. Increasing graduate employability rate to more than 80% is one of the aspirations of Malaysian higher education blueprint. The COVID-19 crisis gives higher education institutions in Malaysia an opportunity to rebuild an education system and relook into course learning outcomes. This calls for higher education system and institution in Malaysia to re-examine the purpose of higher education beyond exam. Traditional learning and cramming of knowledge for examination will not prepare students for the work in the future. Next, we are talking about innovation to student learning. The transition to online delivery mode has initiated the utilization of several online tools for the teaching purpose. More specifically, some higher education institutions have subscribed to various online teaching platforms like Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Webex, Blackboard Collaborate, Canvas, Moodle Cloud, Edmodo LMS to soon meet up with this new challenge. There are robust and fully functional synchronous web conferencing systems, providing a variety of tools such as whiteboard, video streaming, ability to share screens, as well as a text and chat field. They also provide a multi-device ready platform, which can be used with headphone, laptop, and tablets. By the same token, there are free online videos call tools for meeting and teaching purposes, such as Skype, Zoom, and Microsoft Teams. Next, they support in creating easy communication between genuine and digital learning resources, and at the same time, offering personalized learning opportunities. This has significantly provided a new space for teaching and learning. Evidence to support this position can be found in the study indicating that the use of online technological school tools enhance the students' learning experience. In order to help peer-to-peer learning, students utilize user-generated content tools such as wikis, discussion boards, blogs, WhatsApp, and social network platforms. This helps in creating a conducive space for students to interact and have a sense of belonging in the absence of going to the campus. During class activities, students are asked to create and share infographics of their work, where their peers can view and comment. This creates a funny and engaging learning environment. Similarly, higher education institutions will no longer be placed as a diffusion of knowledge, but to become space for creation, creativity, and production of new applied and contextualized knowledge. The traditional flipped classroom has been indicated to be more effective in the digital space. Lecturers are able to prepare interactive slides and conduct classes without many difficulties. In fact, in this new space, lecturer can allocate feedback sessions for their students and online consultations. Brothers and sisters, next we are going to talk about student assessment. In regard to student assessment, oral presentation are now conducted in form of PowerPoint narration, where students record the presentation and submit online. Although some higher education institutions in Malaysia have embraced online marking assessment, some are using these new marking techniques for the first time. As highlighted by many lecturers as well as the students, online marking serves as an asymmetrical form of communication regarding the assessment. Lecturers give their feedback to students using Feedback Studio. Students find it beneficial as they are able to directly identify the areas they need to improve and the areas in the assessment where they have achieved good performance. This is unlike the traditional system where the lecturer will only insert the marks in the assessment sheet and give a general feedback to students who are concerned about their performance. In most higher education institutions in Malaysia, series of online webinars are conducted to put those new cohort on board in the online learning space. Similarly, there is a high need and demand for the literature that provide educators with more insight in coping with online classes. Redesign of course assessment and the course content structure to suit online learning are also part of the new norm. In particular, this helps to determine the part of the standard curriculum on which they will focus as well as their aims in including other topics. For instance, centralized end of semester examination in some universities have been changed to take home exam. It is entirely a new innovation that allows students to have more flexibility of writing and examination under less pressure and free space. As a result of this, we may see a new breed of performing students. Equally, some courses are now using iLectures as another channel of providing students with pre-recorded lectures. All this innovation providing students opportunities to explore the new learning space. Brothers and sisters, in some cases, the internship employing organization are asked to provide students with check-in time, within which the student will contact the supervisor to ensure the tasks are ongoing or have been completed. Equally, it has become mandatory to the employers to provide the student with virtual colleagues, so that they will not be able or not be working in loneliness. Virtual internship provides an opportunity for students to obtain work experience with international employers despite their mobility limitations. Next, synchronous learning necessities. The attendance of both parties at the same time for teaching and learning to take place, as in particular, synchronous learning is a real-time and live online social interaction, where responses are given to students immediately. On the other hand, synchronous interaction refers to online communication that are happening in real time. The lecturer-student communication is happening mainly at any time and anywhere. though most also include other media such as synchronous chat or recorded lectures, limited face-to-face meeting, or computer-assisted modules such as tutorial or simulations. Moreover, necessary skills in the use of these technological tools are needed. Therefore, educators need to continue to improve themselves and develop the need to share experiences with different parts of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, we call it ASEAN, Asian countries, and the world at large, which will prove to be beneficial. Brothers and sisters, from the lecturer dimensions, there are needs to devise means to evaluate the engagement of students in an online class. As highlighted in the class commentary, to improve engagement, students must learn to use video and speak with lecturers using their microphone during an online class session. Universities need to step up by providing e-learnings, training to lecturers. Next, higher educations need to equip and upgrade their technology infrastructure for learning. And sufficient technology or sufficient technical support, good internet services, and availability of user-friendly teaching piece of software are the key ingredients to support an effective online teaching environment. Brothers and sisters, all the actions are to be properly planned and documented in order to enhance evidence-based practice. The ultimate aim is to improve student learning experience and document evidence-based practice for future reference and accreditation purposes. That's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Saiful, for giving us such information and interesting presentation. Okay, we are still in this era of pandemic COVID-19. Many of these advantages that we can take from this pandemic, but we, teacher and lecturer, we are challenged how to give the best way in teaching learning process. And we must to be creative and how together we and student, lecturer and student, teacher and student use technology in learning process. Thank you, Mr. Saiful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to our third presenter today. Our third speaker today is Mr. Associated Professor Dr. Ibrahim Narongraksakhet. He has received his bachelor education majoring in the English language in 1989 from Yala Teacher College, Thailand. He also has received advanced diploma education, majoring in education from International Islamic University, Malaysia. Mr. Ibrahim took his master education, majoring in Islamic education in 1999 from International Islamic University, Malaysia, and his philosophy doctor, majoring in philosophy in 2004 from University of Malaya, Malaysia. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Mr. Associated Professor Dr. Ibrahim Narongraksakhet, to deliver his presentation. Mr. Ibrahim, the floor is yours.
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. It is clear, my voice.
Yes.
Yes.
The screen you want me to share, or you want to share my screen, which I have already given to the organizer, or I take this opportunity to share the screen. Okay. Can you see my PowerPoint? Miss
Yes.
Moderator? Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Honorable Rector of this university, and Brother Ahmad Salim, Brother Muhammad Saiful Azizi, Miss Moderator, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh.
Of course, you know, when you see the topic of my today presentation, it might, you may think that it is go beyond the scope of our today discussion. But in fact, I choose to talk about industry revolution or industry 4.0. I have my own reason why I have to choose this, because I'm very confident that when we are dealing with the education during the pandemic, even though we are in Indonesia, we are in Malaysia, or even you are in Thailand, we will face a very similar thing. That because during the pandemic era, we face very similar calamity. We do suffer from very similar thing. So that's why the situations of education in Thailand and in other country, in the Asian country, they will be very similar. Even we are talking about industry 4.0, we are talking about pandemic, we are talking about new normal, we are talking about globalization, we are talking about digital era. It seems that the topic is very different from each other, but in fact, it is in the scope of the contemporary issues. Only the dimension that we are discussing. Industry Revolution 4.0, or in Thailand, we call Thailand 4.0. It is not the slogan which is only declared in Thailand, but it declared in every country which the national income is at the average level, including Malaysia and Indonesia. And this slogan was declared few years before the coming of coronavirus, or before the coming of pandemic that we are facing today. And we do hope that after we overcome the problem of the pandemic, or this pandemic will be over. So again, we are coming to talk about the Thailand 4.0 or Indonesia 4.0 or Malaysia 4.0. Because this is very important, because we want to jump from the threat of the average income of our own country. I'm very optimistic, even though we do suffer from the pandemic era, but I'm very optimistic that few months from now on, the situation will be better and released. Because in Thailand, first wave of the pandemic, you know, in 3 southern border provinces of Thailand, the number of deaths was only 3. 3 died at the first wave of the pandemic. But now we are in the 4th wave, and you know how many died? Nearly 300. 100 times double from the first wave of pandemic. Why the number of deaths is high, but I'm still optimistic about this pandemic? Because within few months from now on, the vaccine from many company will come to Thailand, but not only Thailand, in Indonesia and in Malaysia. Pfizer, Moderna, and other brands of vaccine will come, including the vaccine from Russia, will come to Thailand. And after 70 or 80% of our population, when they get the vaccine, and we do hope the situation will be like England, America, or even Israel. And the Ministry of Education declare officially now that if the citizen or populations of Thailand get vaccine more than 70, on-site school will be open, university will be open, even though we still use a hybrid online, including on-site. Because so far we have many kinds of class. We say online class, on-site class, on-air class, on-hand class. This one slogan. They say in Thailand, they say online is like what we have done in Indonesia. On air, that means we use educational TV. So let students go to the educational TV they can learn from. We call on air. On hand, I mean 1 week parent and student have to go to school to take some document to do at home. And on site, and we will study in the class. So after 70% they get vaccine, so the class will be open. And within few months, the vaccine will come, and we do hope that the thing will be better. When things become better, so after that, we will go beyond the pandemic. So the thing that we are going to discuss again is Thailand 4.0. So this is what we expect, like Indonesia and Malaysia, when pandemic problem has been overcome, so we will start talking about others. So which means that what I'm going to talk is about the prediction within few months from now on. So when we are talking about revolution of for Thailand 4.0, I would like to touch 4 points. The coming of Islam. Why I have to touch this issue? Because I'm going to present you the journey of Islamic education. This is the main topic of our discussion. The foundation of Islamic educational institution, so that you will know. And then the third thing that I'm going to talk about, phases of journey of Islamic education. Because the journey of Islamic education in Thailand will be different from Indonesia and Malaysia, because now we do suffer from the current phase that I will go in detail. And the last one, I'm going to talk about challenges facing the Thailand 4.0. So let's go one by one because time is very limited. So I will not go into more detail. I just go roughly about the topic and the subtopic that I have already divided. Just for your knowledge that Islam came to this region 300 before the first king of Patani, the last king of Lankasuka, and the first king of Patani embraced Islam in the 15th century. And Islam came to this region 300 years before that from Hikayat al-Fatani. No argument from Malacca to say this is just only the information. And during that time, only the house of the learned man was the place for our Islamic education. And when the first king of Patani and the last king of Lankasuka converted to Islam in the 15th century, and then the palace become the second place for Islamic education. That means during the 15th century, house of learned men and palace were the place of Islamic education. And after that, let's go to the foundation of Islamic educational institution. The first pondok was founded in the say 1400, we call 1400, 5400, 1400. That pondok was Krisek, established by Safiyuddin Al-Abbas Al-Yamani. And the second pondok was, maybe in Indonesia we call pesantren, I don't know how to call that. In Thailand we call pondok, was Pondok Kuala Bekah, founded in the 16th century by one son of Sheikh Usman from Yemen. And the third, Pondok Senor, was founded around 1600 by Panglima Lebaiwan Musa. And then madrasah, that is another educational institution which is different from pondok, was founded in the 1935, and the first madrasah named Al-Ma'arif Al-Wataniyah, founded by Haji Sulong. And the first college of Islamic study, the place where I'm working, was founded in 1989. And the first Islamic university, firstly, was founded as a Yala Islamic College, and later on to be Yala Islamic University, and lately become Fatani University in 2013. In this university, I am the member of University Council. Okay, this is a little bit knowledge about the background of educational institution. Why I have to touch this? Because I want you to see the phase and the journey of Islamic education, the main topic of our today discussion. So when I'm talking about journey of Islamic education, the roadmap or the route of Islamic education, in Thailand, it is quite different from Malaysia and Indonesia. I have divided these phases into three phases. The first phase I call introduction or introductional phase. The second phase, when Islamic education reached its peak last decade. But now, based on my understanding, I don't know whether others will have the very same or very similar ideas with me or not. But based on my understanding, based on my knowledge, that I am in the place where I'm working, and notice from other universities and educational institutions, I noticed that Islamic education period can be divided into three: introduction, peak, and decline. And decline is so far we are in this phase. Let I go to detail. I don't know whether you will agree with me or not. You see, let's go to the first period, the introduction. Since from the emergence of Islam, and many educational institutions have been founded in this region, and then in the 20th century, we start from around 20th century, and particularly in the university level, in the 20th century, in 1935, we start establish the College of Islamic Study, the place where I'm working now. It was the first educational institute. It is first educational institution which offer Islamic study at the university level. And this college was founded in 1935, but this college now changed to Faculty of Islamic Sciences. During the introduction period, many questions raised because they want to know what Islamic education is. The question come to us and come to others. They ask, what are Islamic education all about? Because we just introduced to our society that this is one branch of knowledge that we try to offer to Thai people. Some, they don't realize what Islamic education was. So that's why question come to the College of Islamic Study during that time. What were Islamic education all about? They try to ask what Islamic study, what Islamic education during the phase of introduction, because they want to know what Islamic education was. Can Islamic education last long? When we introduce Islamic education in university, and this Islamic education will last long or not, or will offer for a few months or few weeks and stop, or terminate our education. So this question came to us during the first phase of the introductions of Islamic education in the university level. Is it worthy to invest in Islamic education? University itself, the government themselves, they ask, is it worthy to invest in Islamic education? Because they have to spend a lot of money for building, for lecturers, for other material. They will spend tremendous numbers of budget to support Islamic education. So at this phase, they ask, is it worthy to invest for the Islamic education? And many such questions raised in order to know where our education will go. What is the destinations of our Islamic education? This was the first step, the first phase of our Islamic education in Thailand. So during that time, we have to answer all these questions through our researchers, through our seminar, and through our practice, and through whatever channel we have to do to make them understood about the first. And then when we jump to the second phase, when we answer all questions, we come to the peak. Last 10 years, the government, they realized that Islamic education is very important. And Islamic education can solve many problems. And Islamic education is the real need of the people in this region. And university which offer Islamic education or Islamic study will gain a tremendous respect and good response from the community and from the citizen, from the people of Thailand. So during that time, last 10 years, nearly all university, that means nearly all university who are able to offer Islamic education or Islamic study, they would do that. Because when they offer Islamic education or Islamic study, big number of students will join that university. And many of us, particularly from the Muslim community, we dream to go and study and fulfill our education and get the degree in Islamic education or Islamic studies. And the graduate from Islamic study will get job easily, particularly in the field of education during that time. And time is very limited, and I will sum up my speech so that we still have time for question and answer. And then about 2015 or 2016 something, this something, or around 2016 or 2017, the government declared Thailand 4.0. 4.0. And of course, when we are talking about 4.0, we are talking about less investment, gain more product. We start talking about values-based industry, investment, or country something. We are talking about startup. We are talking about innovation to increase the income of the people, because we want to jump from the trap of the average income of the country. And in 2019, at the end of that year, we heard the spreading of coronavirus. And 2020, we started and did suffer from the pandemic. We start to suffer from pandemic from around January to April. January to April, and after that, no case in Thailand. Particularly in southern border provinces of Thailand, 350 days, no case at all. 350 days, nearly 1 year. We didn't know what coronavirus was. We just watched from TV. We learned from Indonesia, they did suffer from pandemic. The Malaysia did suffer from pandemic. Nearly 1 year, we didn't know what about the pandemic. Only fourth wave, starting this year to 2021, from April until now. Now we realize about the suffer of our brothers and sisters in Indonesia and in Malaysia. We know that what lockdown means. Before that, we have never learned. And we start take a vaccine. In Yala, Patani, Naratiwa, so far more than 50%. We have already got the vaccine, and we do hope within few months, the more than 70% or 80%, and lockdown will be cancelled. And again, we have to go to the normal life in normal era. So this is the second, and now we do suffer from the pandemic. We are going to jump from the 3.0 to 4.0, and the country expect the lot thing from university to produce skillful students who can get job after that. But we still cannot fulfill this because of many reasons. That because Islamic education, we focus on knowledge, we focus on hereafter. We will not emphasize on getting work after the graduation. So again, question come to the university which offer Islamic study. Does Islamic education is able to produce skilled labor person needed for the industry 4.0? The graduate from the field of Islamic education are jobless or not? Does Islamic education provide education which is consistent with the need of Thailand 4.0? So this question face the Islamic education, particularly university that offering this Islamic education. But it seems that so far we failed to answer this question accurately or correctly. So that's why I say that we are now in the decline phase, because last 5 years, number of students gradually increased until university so far, Islamic education, I mean, including Sharia, number of students who join the program of Islamic study. When I mean Islamic study, I mean the big umbrella which cover Sharia and all other fields of knowledge, less than 50%. Less than 50% who join Islamic education. This is very big challenge of Islamic education. Why? There are many reasons. The reason we cannot produce skillful labor person needed for 0.04. Our graduate, they are jobless after their graduation. And so many reasons that Islamic education face. Until now, we are in the decline phase. Number of students is gradually decrease nearly every year. Some university get less than 50%, some get less than 30%. For example, Islamic Sharia, previously we got 60 students for one class. So far, we will get not more than 20. That means less than 30% number of students in during the pandemic era, during the Thailand 4.0. So the thing is, Islamic education, I believe that Islamic education is the resolution for all problems. we should not be challenged by other, but we have to challenge other that Islamic education can solve our problem, even about the employment. We can solve the problem of pandemic, we can solve many problems, particularly about pandemic. I just finished one research, and last Friday I sent my last report, the research report, that Islamic education can solve the pandemic problem, and I proposed 3 things to the government. The government will implement very soon. So Islamic education, of course, can solve the problem. Otherwise, the first revelation will not reveal the word about education, Iqra. But now why Islamic education get less respect and get a very negative response from the society? This is the challenge of Islamic education in Thailand, but I don't think this will happen in Malaysia and Indonesia. So go through these three phases. Now we are in the 3rd phases. And we do hope that when we can overcome the problem faced by our Islamic education, we have to develop, to change, to reprofile of our Islamic education. And inshallah, we will jump to the 4th level. That means we bring the peak phase come to Islamic education again. And we do hope that Indonesia and Malaysia, you have to learn from Thailand, because you have never faced the decline period of Islamic education. Malaysia and Indonesia will not find this so far, but we have already faced this. And we do suffer from this because among intelligent students, clever students, they will not come to study in the field of Islamic education. They go to other fields, medical doctor, dentist, and other. Only the average student will come to Islamic education. When the input of Islamic education is in average level, we cannot expect that our education will reach the highest academic achievement in the future. This is what I can share to you. In fact, there are many things, but since time is very limited. I'm very sorry if I take more time, and I do hope that experiences and knowledge from Thailand can be beneficial to all brothers and sisters, participants, and particularly university lecturer and university rector, so that you have to be aware to protect yourself, protect your university, so that your university will not reach to the decline, the phase of the Islamic education, because Islam is Islam is the highest, but so far why Islam is the lowest. Thank you very much indeed. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim, for giving us such an insightful presentation. We must optimists can follow this pandemic immediately. Islamic education, Islamic study has full role in education in Thailand, and we hope a lot of response from society. Thank you, Mr. Saiful. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim, for your presentation. Ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we are going to the 4th speaker. Our 4th speaker today is Mr. Dr. Akhsanul Fuadi, M.Pd.I. He is a lecturer at Alma University. Mr. Fuad completed his studies at Islamic State University, Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta. He has received her bachelor's degree in Arabic language and literature and got a professional educator certificate. Mr. Fuad took his master's in Islamic education field, Islamic education management and policy. And for his Doctor of Education, majoring in Islamic education. Now, allow me to welcome the speaker, Mr. Fuad, to deliver his presentation. Mr. Fuad, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Ika, for this time. I'm sorry, I will speak in 2 languages, Arabic and English. Maqalahul mutahaddisun muktamilun lil ghayah wa amalun an akmalu bisifatil muhaddisi al akhir. What the speaker have said is very complete and I ask the last speaker, hopefully can complete it. I want to share my paper. Can see it, Mbak Ika?
Okay.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, syukrulillah, la hawla wa la quwata illa billah.
Ayo.
Assalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, sayyidina wa maulana Muhammad ibn Abdullah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi wa mawalah, amma ba'du. Hadratal kiram, alladzi nahtarimuhu al-aziz Profesor Dr. Ki Haji M.Pd.I, MS, S.Pd, S.Pd, Karoisi Jami'ah Alma-Ata Yogyakarta. Allati nahtarimuha al-azizah Ibu Hajah Dr. Anda Ida Rufaida Ali, Karoisati Majelis Idarah Muassasah Alma-Ata Yogyakarta. Wallati nahtarimuha al-azizah Asisten Profesor Martalia Ardianingrum Ka'amidati Kuliyatiddin Al-Islamiyah Jami'ah Alma-Ata Yogyakarta. Wal muhadirin al-kiram fi nadwatil yawm, Profesor Ahmad Salim, Profesor Saiful Azizi from Malaysia, Profesor Ibrahim from Thailand, hafizahumullahu ta'ala fi sihah wal afiyah. Wa ta'alallahu amrahum wa rafa'allahu darajatahum ibadatillah. Wa su'ada'il kiram al-musyarikin fi nadwah, hafizahumullahu ta'ala fi sihah wal afiyah aidan. Nuwasilu taqdim al-mawadi fi hadhihi nadwah. Amal mawdu' alladhi sanunaqqiluhu huwa Islamic boarding school learning in the new era, challenges and opportunities in education 4.0. Ta'limul Ma'had al-Islami awil Madrasah al-Islamiyah fi asrin jadidin wa tahdiyat wal furs fil asri 4.0. Ayuhal musyarikin al-kiram, ladies and gentlemen, qabla an nuwasilu hadhil madah fi hadhil muwajahah yajibu alaina an nufakkiru fi annal awqat tataghayyaru daiman wa satastamiru fit taghyir kama na'lamu annal alama yaltaqi bi taghayyurin min waqtin ila waqtin akhar bada'an min society 1.0 wa society 2.0, society 3.0, society 4.0 wa ma ila dhalika hatta ila dhalikal hin sanwajihu ila az-zaman society 5.0 and industry aw sina'ah 4.0. Falidhalika yajibu alaina wa ala al-muassasat at-ta'limiyah al-islamiyah wal madaris al-islamiyah awil ma'had al-islami an tastamira fi tahsini nafsiha fi muwajahatil munafasatil alamiyah. Nahtaju aidan ila tafkir fi rihlati ta'lim al-islami min waqtin ila waqtin akhar bada'an min bidayati rihlati tarbiyah al-islamiyah mundu zamanil ma'adi summa at-tarbiyah al-islamiyah al-yawm atau at-tarbiyah al-islamiyah al-an summa at-tarbiyah al-islamiyah fil asril jadid atau fi zamani society 4.0, society 5.0 and fi zamanil mustaqbal. Wa yatahaddatsu an khalfiyati tarbiyatil islamiyah yajibu an nafhama annahu qabla insya'il muassasatit ta'limiyah ar-rasmiyah kana al-muslimuna qad nadhafu at-ta'lim bi istikhdami standar kompetensi lulusan wadih. Before Islamic education developed today, Muslim world used the existing education system with a clear SKL. At the time, there was Darul Arqam, Masjid, Sufah, Kutab, Istana, Badi'ah, Bamaristan, Hawanit, Waraqin, Manazil Ulama, Solun Adabiyah, Observatorium, Ribat, Zawiyah, Pesantren, and Madrasah. The children of Islamic education models or Islamic boarding school actually has strong Quranic and prophetic historical roots and learn from the application of Islam carried out by scholars who are intact in viewing Islam and have not been impacted by secularism and dichotomist perspective. The historical roots of the Islamic education model are related to the phenomenon of intact personality of the Prophet, the phenomenon of Khulafa ur-Rashidin, the phenomenon among the Tabi'in and Tabi'ut Tabi'in, and the phenomenon of graduate education in Indonesia. For example, Prophet Musa alayhi salam, known a politician, Nuh alayhi salam, known a technologist, Prophet Sulaiman alayhi salam, a fire president and has spiritual depth. Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam is the economist. Prophet Isa alayhi salam, known a doctor, and moreover, our Prophet Nabiullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. For example, the Khalifahs can be classified based on the aspect of mastery, religious knowledge, saying the Khalifahs, whereas Abu Bakar radhiyallahu an, Umar radhiyallahu an, Utsman radhiyallahu an, hatta Khalifah Ali radhiyallahu an. There are religious experts. From the aspect of expertise specification, it can be said that the Khalifah Ali is a scholar, Umar is general, and in general, the Khalifah are people who have integral abilities in leading the country. In Tabi'in and Tabi'in, for example, Imam Al-Ghazali, who died in 1212, at that time had produced so many books, and one of his books, Ihya Ulumuddin, is still used as a reference and has been translated into various languages. In Indonesia, Islamic education in Indonesia can give birth to figures such as Tengku Umar, Imam Bonjol, and Pangeran Diponegoro. The role of Islamic boarding school in the new era education 4.0. There is 4 rules, namely first, about the role of Islamic education in developing a culture of peace and character building. Second, with regard to the competitiveness of mastery of science and technology between the output of Islamic education and the output of general education. Third, Islamic education and awareness of science and technology and digitalization of education. And fourth, Islamic education and education development in globality, developing discipline, developing social sensitivity, develop a competitive spirit, develop a spirit of collaboration, and become a canal psychology. And digital literacy is a combination of information and communication technology skill, critical thinking, collaboration skill, and social awareness. Digitalization must make teachers more creative in designing the learning process, because students are given almost limitless choices. Students must also take advantage of all the content and context with responsibility. And the recommendation for Islamic boarding school in facing the new era education 4.0 is 5. First, all stakeholders must improve themselves by mastering language skill, internet, and computer literacy as part of self-improvement. Second, with the leaders of Islamic boarding school must make constructive alignment of the 3 components of outcome-based education, namely learning outcome, learning activities, and assessment methods that have been referred in the RPP. Third, institution must ensure that the readiness of learning with a global perspective, including with an independent learning perspective in digital format in such a way that students easily understand the learning materials. Fourth, activate the whole student independence, sensitivity, and entrepreneurship. Determine the duration of learning with the number of hours of lesson available. And first, Islamic boarding school must improve the quality of human resources, infrastructure, adequate facilities, quality service as one of the pathways to preserve the quality of Islamic education in global competition. And to face the new era, Islamic boarding school must have a good education ecosystem, namely technology and language, content, actor, process, and evaluation. Islamic boarding school is successful in delivering students to develop their potential through the process of Islamic education. The potential that exists in students varies or multiple intelligence. Islamic boarding school, which can overcome to the problem faced by students, as long as education is not directed to overcome the problem faced by students, education is not of much use, because each student faces different problems. Therefore, the method of education is also different. And education goals develop human beings to become religious, critical, analytical, creative, and solution-oriented individuals for the good of mankind, to create justice, process, and good order. The education materials, the succeeded in this world, the science of adab, the science of nature, the science of history, and the science of human. The learning method is not just repeating the subject matter until mentally, but emphasizes the process of searching and reading a big matter. And last, the evaluation is directed in achieving the main indicators, namely being able to produce religious aspect, critical, analytical, creative, and solution scientists who can produce useful findings to solve problems faced by mankind. I think for me, my discussion is enough, and time I return to Ms. Ika. I'm sorry. Allahu a'lam bishawab. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
warahmatullahi
wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Mr. Fuad, for giving us such an information and interesting presentation. Okay, from Mr. Fuad presentation, in the past, our prophet could be an expert in their respective field with limited technology, of course. Today, we have complete facilities, complete infrastructure. I'm sure that we can be able, the people become expert in our respective fields by continuing to imitate their character and ethics. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, now come to the question and answer session. I'd like to have 2 sessions, and there will be 3 questions in each session from the participants. I'm open the session 1 to the participants who have questions. Please raise your hand by click the raise hand button on your Zoom application, or please write in the comment box on Zoom and YouTube down below. Okay, Here I'm going from Febriana Kurnia Dewi. Thank you, Febriana. Febriana, you have two questions. Your question is to Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Febriana. The first question, I read her question. He just been said that Islamic education can solve the pandemic problems. The one I wanna asking, how the first step if we as the student and we wanna be participant of it. And the second question, how to keep the quality education in Thailand during this pandemic COVID-19 era? Okay, Mr. Ibrahim.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
You want me now to answer these two questions? Okay.
Yes.
First of all, Islam is not just a religion, is in a very narrow definition. Islam is the ways of life. When Islam is the way of life, that means all will be included in Islam. So that's why in the Hajjul Wada, the verses revealed to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Al-Yawma Akmamtu Lakum, which means or show that Islam is completed. So if Islam has nothing to do with or to solve the problem of pandemic, which that will show that the Al-Yawma Akmamtu Lakum Dinakum wa Atmamtu Alaikum Ni'mati wa Raditu Lakum Al-Islam Madina is not completed. This is the reason that Islam can solve a problem. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the hadith, Allah said, Allah sent disease, and at the same time, Allah sent medicine to cure, to overcome disease have been sent. Because sometimes disease is bala for some person, but sometimes disease is the test from Allah to check whether your imam is there, whether your patient is there or not. Because Yusuf alayhi salam, you know how long he faced his disease problem? 70 years he was in the very healthy. And after that, he was affected by disease problem. And his wife asked him to pray from Allah because he's a Rasul. But he said he felt shame because he was healthy for 70 years. But his disease problem was less than 7 years something, but he faced more than 7 years. So this is the show that sometimes disease have been sent to this world to test. We do hope that pandemic will be test for all of us and maybe bala for a certain person. Sometimes we have to come back to our responsibility to do our da'wah. We are here for 50 years. We cannot stop the drunkard. We cannot stop the karaoke. We cannot stop so many things. But maybe Allah want to stop this by His own Almighty and send the pandemic to be bala, to stop the others, become calamity for some person, but for us become the test. So Islam cannot give all the detail because Quran have only 30 juzus. I remember Brother Nick Muhammad, the one professor from IIUM, when he delivered his speech, and he said that all in Al-Quran, and one participant asked him whether biscuit was there in Al-Quran or not. But he said, yes. Oh, please tell me what Al-Quran say about biscuit. But he said, Fas'alu ahla dhik in kuntum la ta'lamun. So that means this is the way that Allah tell us that Islamic education does not mean only a certain subject. When we mean Islamic education, we give the definition of Islamic education as a big umbrella will cover all branches of knowledge. So everything included in Al-Quran and Islam, of course, the ways of life will cover all solution for all problems, including pandemic. What Allah say about disease, when Allah give the disease, Allah prepare the medicine, whether we find it or not. If not, we just patient. Many medicine, you can go to Atib an-Nabawi and you can see, and when you go to the modern doctor, medical doctor, and you can see how to solve the problem, how to cure the problem, how to kill the virus, and all mentioned in the Holy Quran. And then the very thing which is very important that we have to know that la darara wa la diraran. We should not harm ourselves and harm others. But if we keep away from other, we practice the social distance. So that means we can solve the problem. And we have to run away from those who are affected, like we run away from lion. So this is the teaching of Islam to solve the problem. And you cannot go to the place which is affected. But if you are affected, you should not go out. So you have to divide from those who are healthy and those who are not. So this all mentioned in Al-Quran and in Hadith, even though in Hadith, but all become wahyu yuha, because Rasulullah will not say anything unless it is wahyu yuha. So this some example that I can tell sister and all of us that Islam provide the solution for pandemic or even more than pandemic. So we do hope that the two speakers from IIUM and brother from Alma, the one who spoke in Arabic, can add something about this. This is very important. If we follow the way of life given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we will be safe, we will be healthy. Because Allah created this world, created all human beings, and He knows how to spend our life on this world peacefully and healthy, because He knows. So that's why He gives the catalog. If we follow catalog, we will not be affected by pandemic. If we were, that is the test from Allah. What is catalog? Quran and Sunnah. So we say Ihdinas siratal mustaqim 5 times, more than 5 times, 10 times, many times in our prayer. And Ihdinas siratal mustaqim, you go to Tabari, you go to Mufassirin, and it is Al-Quran. When we talk about Al-Quran, it means Quran and Sunnah. So this is a question. This is answer to that. And then about the quality of Islamic education, it is sometimes because so far our education had been distorted from the 19th century. Our Islamic education had been distorted because our knowledge had been divided into secular, into traditional. Whenever our knowledge was divided into traditional and secular or modern, we cannot integrate these two kinds of knowledge, of these branches of knowledge. Or at the same time, when we want to integrate these two kinds of knowledge, we have to Islamize. That's why we have the concept of Islamizations of knowledge that Brother Nick will know better than me, because he got his PhD from IIUM. I got only master in education from IUM. You become more learned than I about Islamization of knowledge. So if we can integrate both traditional into secular, under the Islamic discipline, Islamic integration, or whatever we can give name to the integrations of these two kinds of knowledge, so we become to the power. We can call back our civilization. We will not reach our civilization during the golden age of our period in the Abbasid period, but in fact, the golden period, based on my understanding, is not in the Abbasid. My golden period of Islam is the period of Rasulullah, because he himself will guarantee his time is the best, followed by Khulafaur Rashidin, followed by Tabi'in, and follow. And golden age in the Abbasid period, maybe it is defined by Westerner and may be seen in the dimension of intellectual development. So based on my understanding, there is no best period except the period of Rasulullah. So this is the very short. We have to integrate the knowledge. That means we go back, trace back to our classical knowledge. But classical knowledge does not mean we refuse the scientific, we refuse the modern science. No, that means we have to integrate and make because when we are talking about traditional knowledge, we'll relate to the Torah. When we are dealing with the modern, we're dealing with the scientific. So we have to combine, integrate this in Islamic manner. Inshallah, the civilization and the strength of our Islamic education will come again. This is what I can add to to share my idea, because I don't know whether my answer is correct or not, but try to do my best, and the best come from Allah. Wallahu alam bissawab. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you for the question from Febriana. Okay, I still wait another question from the participant. No more question. Okay, please, for the participant, please write your question in chat below. We still your question about the webinar today. Please write down your question.
Setelah ini, tanya. Kau bahasa harusnya.
Jadi berapa pertanyaan? Dua. Okay, for the participant, please your question. Kadar. Okay. Kadar Susilowati. There is a question from Izam. Izam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I read your question, Izam. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Saya ingin bertanya kepada narasumber Pak Saiful Azizi, bagaimana permasalahan pendidikan selama pandemi, khususnya pendidikan sekolah. Okay, Mr. Saiful, the question is from Izam. He want to ask you, how is the problem about the teaching learning process, especially in pandemic era?
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Terima kasih kepada saudara yang bertanya. Because the question come in Malay, so I answer in Malay.
Yes.
Can I answer in Malay?
Yes.
Okay. Berkenaan dengan pembelajaran dan cabaran ketika pengajaran dan pembelajaran PDP, dia ada flexibility. Sebagai contoh, ada pengubahsuaian kursus ataupun pembelajaran secara dalam talian atau remote yang perlu diselaraskan dengan hasil pembelajaran yang ditetapkan. Di antara cabaran-cabaran yang nak dilaksanakan. Kalau di Malaysia dia ada beberapa peringkat PMR untuk tingkatan 3, UPSR untuk darjah 6 dulunya. Sekarang ni bila berlaku 2 tahun ini, dia telah mengubah banyak perkara. Sebagai contoh, dalam saya bercakap berkenaan dengan pelaksanaan dan cabaran di peringkat universiti. Sebagaimana yang kita maklum, kebanyakan pelajar yang telah berada di rumah masing-masing, sebab kampus sudah ditutup, pada masa yang sama, pembelajaran masih diteruskan seperti mana perancangan pengajian akademik yang telah ditetapkan. Jadi, pihak universiti memastikan penjadualan akademik melibatkan aktiviti pembelajaran, assignment, tugasan dan penilaian, peperiksaan dirancang dan disusun secara bersesuaian dan tidak membebankan pelajar. Ini termasuklah menetapkan waktu senggang, gap time, dan tempoh bertenang, study period, dan tempoh ulang kaji antara kursus ataupun dalam satu aktiviti pembelajaran. Begitu juga tugasan dan juga penilaian, exam, dan mengelakkan berlakunya lambakan aktiviti, assignment lepas tu assignment dan end assignment dalam satu masa, terutamanya sewaktu minggu-minggu yang terakhir. Sebab itu cabaran, nak bagaimana semua lecturer akan memberikan assignment dan pelajar akan menerima assignment yang banyak. Ini yang menyebabkan kes-kes mental health atau mental depression. Begitu juga ada juga pihak universiti yang menggalakkan pelajar menangguhkan ataupun membuat penundaan untuk kursus-kursus elektif yang tidak kritikal ataupun menggantikannya dengan kursus-kursus yang lain yang dianggap sesuai di masa lain, situasi semasa. Cabaran lain juga ialah di peringkat universiti, higher education learning, seperti peperiksaan ataupun penilaian, assessment. Pihak pendidikan tinggi, dia boleh mengubah suai penilaian kursus ini merangkumi penilaian berterusan, continuous assessment, dan juga penilaian akhir, alternative assessment, yang dijajarkan dengan hasil pembelajaran yang telah dirancang. Dan pihak universiti mesti memastikan semua aspek validity, reliability dan keadilan, fairness dipelihara semasa penilaian dilaksanakan. Sebab ada yang berada di bandar dan ada yang berada di luar bandar. Yang di bandar mungkin dari segi connectivity kepada internet tidak ada masalah. Tapi yang berada di kampung, mereka berhadapan dengan masalah seperti mana yang saya sebut contoh tadi di Sabah dan Sarawak. Di setengah tempat itu tidak ada langsung connected to Wi-Fi. Jadi dalam penilaian ini, pengubah suaian penilaian perlu juga mengambil kira bilangan dan kekerapan penilaian. Ada berapa assessment, ada quiz, ada essay, ada assignment, ada final assessment dan sebagainya. Perlu juga disesuaikan. Saya tidak pasti cabaran-cabaran lain yang dimaksudkan, tetapi itulah cabaran yang saya dapat kongsikan di peringkat universiti, di peringkat higher learning. Dan bagi memastikan juga kebajikan pelajar ini terpelihara, terutama sepanjang tempoh yang mencabar ini, jadi pihak universiti digalakkan untuk menyediakan khidmat sokongan. Seperti ada pembimbing, ada kaunselor yang boleh pelajar hubungi dari semasa ke semasa sekiranya menghadapi sebarang kesulitan. Terutama yang melibatkan pembelajaran dalam talian ini atau yang dipanggil remote learning. Ataupun perkara yang berkaitan dengan apa-apa program pengajian. Begitu juga pihak universiti merancang aktiviti yang boleh melibatkan para pelajar bagi menggalakkan interaksi, sentiasa ada hubungan, dan ada perkongsian antara rakan sebaya, memandangkan mereka berada di lokaliti masing-masing, di tempat masing-masing, di kampung masing-masing. Kalau situasi ini tidak dibendung ataupun situasi ini tidak disantuni, dia akan mengakibatkan pelajar itu tercicir ataupun terkebelakang. Jadi perlu ada connection di antara kawan-kawan supaya setiap assignment yang diberikan itu sentiasa ada perbincangan dan pun ada follow up. Ini juga satu cabaran. Saya rasa banyak lagi cabaran tapi memadai untuk itu saya rasa. Okay, terima kasih. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Saiful. Okay, Mas Azam is also add the question about pembelajaran di Malaysia Timur. I think your answer, Mr. Saiful, where is it? To all the territory in Malaysia. Sudah dijelaskan oleh Pak Saiful juga tadi ya, Mas Izam. Okay, thank you, Mr. Saiful. Next, there is one question from Izam. Izam juga. Izam asks to Mr. Ibrahim. Assalamualaikum. Saya izin bertanya kepada Mr. Ibrahim, bagaimana kegiatan pendidikan Islam selama pandemi tersebut, khususnya di Thailand di kota Phuket. Okay, Mr. Ibrahim, there is a question from Izam, how the teaching learning process, Islamic education during this pandemic in Thailand, especially in Phuket.
Jawapan dalam bahasa Melayu atau bahasa Inggeris ni?
It's okay, up to you, Mr. Ibrahim.
Okay. Kalau soalan ini berkenaan dengan pelancong di Phuket, senang nak jawab. Tapi berkenaan dengan pendidikan, jadi sukat sedikit. Sebenarnya kita pengalaman pandemik pada tahun 2020 just 3 bulan 4 bulan sahaja. Lepas itu kita tidak ada kes, macam saya dah cerita, lebih kurang 300 hari, hampir 1 tahun. Gelombang pandemik yang agak serius iaitu gelombang yang keempat, yang kita baru saja pengalaman dalam mula bulan April sampai sekarang, hampir 100 ganda kes akademik increase apabila kita banding dengan kes akademik pada wave yang pertama. Di kawasan Phuket, di kawasan ini agak sedikit berbeza dengan kawasan lain. Dalam Thailand keseluruhannya, Menteri Pendidikan isytihar bahawa pendidikan boleh dijalan dengan cara on-site, iaitu buka kelas macam biasa, tapi dengan di bawah syaratnya semua kawasan itu dah vaksin tidak kurang daripada 70 dan ada beberapa cara yang agak ketat untuk kita nak on-site. Di situ, lepas itu kita boleh guna online, kita boleh guna on-site dan kita boleh guna on-air. Sekarang ni di kawasan Phuket dan kawasan lain-lain kita guna 3 perkara. Satu, online. Yang kedua, on-air, iaitu kita guna TV education. Yang ketiga, kita guna on-hand. On-hand ni bermakna itu terminologi yang gunalah. Kita macam 1 hari dalam seminggu, pelajar kena ke sekolah untuk ambil beberapa dokumen untuk buat kat rumah, kemudian hantar balik ke sekolah. Masih ada, walaupun kita ada kelas on-hand. Lepas itu kita guna macam online sama dengan Indonesia dan Malaysia. Tetapi kawasan Phuket ni agak berbeza kerana kawasan ini ada kawasan pelancong, turis punya tempat, maka kerajaan mengutamakan vaksin di kawasan ini. Mungkin sekarang tidak kurang daripada 80, dia fokusnya 90 sampai 100%. Jika penduduk di kawasan Phuket vaksin 100%, memang di situ dia boleh guna hybrid. Bermakna satu online, yang kedua dia macam satu kelas ada 40 orang, dia bagi 3 kelompok, 15, kata kalau 45, 15, hari Isnin 15 orang, hari Selasa 15 orang, jadi dia tukar-tukarlah 15 orang, jadi satu kelas tidak sampai 45, tapi 45 orang tu ada kesempatan datang ke kelas satu hari ataupun 2 hari. Itu kawasan Phuket. Sebab kawasan Phuket sekarang ni dia duduk cuba sandbox untuk turis, ada pelancong luar di kawasan tertentu di kawasan Phuket. Oleh kerana kawasan itu sebagai kawasan diutamakan oleh kerajaan, maka penduduk di kawasan Phuket dia boleh vaksin awal dan vaksin dia lagi berkesan banding dengan vaksin di kawasan lain. Buat sementara ini, kawasan Phuket dan kawasan mana-mana di Thailand pun masih guna metod yang sama, tidak ada perbezaan sangat. Tetapi kami yakin oleh kerana beberapa perkara yang diutamakan di kawasan Phuket, maka Phuket dapat on-site sebelum daripada kawasan lain. Itu termasuk kawasan Pangar dan kawasan-kawasan yang kerajaan bagi keutamaan. Kerana kawasan Phuket itu adalah kawasan yang kerajaan nak menarik turis untuk ke sana. Jadi kalau turis ramai kat sana, penduduk Phuket tidak vaksin, maka sangat bahaya dengan keadaan pandemik ini. Maka beberapa vaksin terus ke Phuket sambil menarik turis ke Phuket. Memang kawasan Phuket, Pangar, Krabi, kawasan turis mungkin akan termasuk di kawasan pertama yang akan dibuka sekolah on-site. Kita dirancangkan bahawa sekira sekolah mana sedia dan guru dan pelajar dapat vaksin 70%, maka sekolah itu diizin untuk on-site, untuk pelajar datang ke kelas. Dan sekarang ni tiap-tiap provinsi, termasuk provinsi di 3 wilayah selatan, kerana sangat teruk sangat keadaan pandemik, maka banyak vaksin datang ke sini, dan insya-Allah tak lebih daripada bulan 10, kalau tidak ada aksiden, insya-Allah vaksin sampai ke sini dan 70 angka akan sampai, kerana beberapa motivasi yang bagi kepada penduduk-penduduk untuk vaksin, kerana ada di kalangan penduduk di setengah wilayah dia tidak ada kepercayaan kepada vaksin. Mungkin vaksin tidak berkesan, vaksin itu menyebabkan kepada beberapa perkara. Jadi kerajaan pun guna beberapa motivasi sebagai siapa vaksin bagi RM300,000, macam tu seorang vaksin, bagi beras, bagi kipas angin, bagi basikal, macam itulah. Jadi motivasi, jadi ramai orang untuk vaksin. Saya rasa itulah kawasan Phuket termasuk kawasan yang pertama akan on-site kalau banding dengan kawasan-kawasan lain. Tapi buat sekarang macam Malaysia dan macam Indonesia. Wallahualam.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Ibrahim. Terima kasih untuk jawabannya, Mas Izem. Okay, the last question. The question is from Dinda. The question is for Mr. Saiful. Dinda want to ask how to increase effective innovation and creative education in facing the wave of the Industrial Revolution 4.0. Mr. Saiful?
Again, please. Again, please. The question.
Okay, the question. In bahasa, saya ingin bertanya bagaimana cara meningkatkan pendidikan inovatif dan kreatif dalam menghadapi gelombang revolusi industri 4.0.
Okay, kalau pandangan saya, pada ketika ini cara penyampaian pengajaran sebelum ini melibatkan whiteboard dengan cara menyalin nota, sesi kuliah ataupun kelas yang panjang. Yang ini sudah laku atau mungkin kurang berkesan, terutamanya dengan kewujudan teknologi baru yang menjadi gaya hidup generasi kini. Kalau kita tengok sistem pendidikan negara sekarang ini mengorak langkah ke arah pengajaran yang dipandu teknologi digital. yang lebih bersifat interaktif dan fleksibel. Kalau kita perhatikan sekarang ini, kebanyakan warga pendidik, mereka terpaksa untuk melengkapkan diri dengan pengetahuan teknologi, dengan maklumat-maklumat baru, dipanggil ICT, bagi membolehkan mereka berhadapan mendepani cabaran revolusi 4.0. Warga pendidik, lecturers, guru dan sebagainya, mereka terpaksa memiliki kefahaman yang jelas mengenai teknologi untuk mereka memantapkan lagi sesi pengajaran dan pembelajaran mereka. Sistem pembelajaran yang fleksibel dan yang interaktif, seperti mengadakan smart classroom, perlu diperluaskan. Tidak kira dari peringkat mana, sekolah rendah, sekolah menengah, maupun di institusi pengajian tinggi, agar proses pengajaran dan pembelajaran menjadi lebih menarik dan mampu merangsang minat pelajar, sekaligus dapat membantu meningkatkan prestasi para pelajar keseluruhannya. Sebagai fokus untuk pelajar di institusi pengajian tinggi higher education, dipraktikkan kaedah pelaksanaan PDP ataupun pembelajaran dan pengajaran secara dalam talian di antara pensyarah dan pelajar, juga diaplikasikan agar pembelajaran tidak hanya tertumpu dalam kuliah semata-mata. Dan kalau kita tengok, untuk menjayakan program ini, pihak kementerian berperanan untuk menyediakan tenaga pengajar dengan memberi pendedahan kepada teknologi semasa. Dan saya disebutkan tadilah, kursus untuk menggunakan LMS, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams dan sebagainya. Cara untuk melaksanakan pembelajaran dalam talian. Dan supaya tidak menyukarkan para pelajar, para pendidik untuk menggunakan teknologi tersebut. Jadi kesimpulannya, pada soalan tadi, kemajuan teknologi ini dalam mendepani revolusi industri 4.0 akan terus memberikan kesan tak dapat tidak dalam kehidupan manusia sekarang dan akan datang. Dan perubahan itu tak dapat dielak. Kita ini terpaksa menerima perubahan ini. Siapa sangka kita pernah untuk bercakap ataupun berseminar secara webinar seperti pada hari ini dan pada tahun lepas. Dah kedua kali kan. Jadi kalau kita perhatikan sistem pendidikan secara konvensional sebelum ini sudah tidak praktikal untuk diteruskan, kerana hari ini suasana akan berbeza. Mungkin selepas ini para pelajar sudah tidak perlu lagi pergi ke sekolah juga. Masing-masing berada di rumah, kecuali kalau dilaksanakan pembelajaran secara hybrid. Ada subjek yang ada hari yang perlu berada di sekolah dan ada hari boleh berada di rumah. Jadi dengan berkembangnya teknologi maklumat yang ada pada hari ini, kita dapat mencapai maklumat di hujung jari saja, dan secara tidak langsung kita sebagai lecturer, pendidik, bukan lagi menjadi sumber utama menyampaikan maklumat. Bahkan zaman teacher centered sudah berlalu. Sekarang ialah zaman student centered atau student centered learning. Oleh itu, sebagai warga pendidik, kita perlu terpaksa mengadaptasi secara sukarela ataupun paksa rela semua kaedah-kaedah baru selari dengan perkembangan pantas teknologi demi kita menyediakan generasi baru, anak-anak watan yang mempunyai daya kreativiti. Berikan peluang pada mereka untuk berkarya dan berkreativiti dan juga berinovasi sendiri dengan dipantau oleh kita. Dan semoga mereka nanti akan mempunyai kecekapan dalam menggunakan teknologi, dan mereka inilah yang akan berada di barisan hadapan sebagai frontliner untuk mendepani revolusi industri 4.0. Saya rasa itulah jawapan saya. Mungkin boleh ditambah baik oleh ahli panel yang lain. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Saiful. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we finally come to the end of this webinar. Before I close the webinar, I would like to take the conclusion from what the speaker has presented. Education in the Industrial Revolution era 4.0 is a phenomenon that responds to the needs of the Industrial Revolution by adjusting the new curriculum according to the current situation. The curriculum is able to open a window of the world through the hand, for example, using the Internet of Things. The field of education is closely related to the Industrial Revolution 4.0, which can be used to support learning partners and thinking patterns, as well as developing creativity and innovation from students in order to produce the next generation of the nation that is superior and able to compete. Adjusting the work system and implementing the COVID-19 prevention protocol, this also applies to education. With the abolition of the national examination, studying at home through certain application, online lectures, online tutoring, and seminars are examples of services in the education sector that accelerate the implementation of revolutionary education 4.0. Teachers and students are encouraged to understand at least the use of digital technology. On the other hand, students are also forced to explore technology and information and channel their creativity through innovation in the tasks given. In the end, in the midst of the COVID-19 outbreak, education in the Industrial Revolution 4.0 era can be implemented with certain adjustment without neglecting things that need to be considered more technically, such as their impact and weaknesses. On the other hand, the demands of the rural student are expected to be able to bring positive change in the midst of the situation through the understanding provided by the teacher. It's time for us to collaborate in realizing the opportunity to serve the minds of this pandemic. I'd like to thank for the speaker for the insightful information and interesting presentation, and all the participants for the very active participant. Finally, give the applause for the speaker and for you all. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Saiful. Thank you, Mr. Ibrahim. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much from Saiful Azizi and to Ibrahim Narongraksakhet. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Jazakumullah khairan katsira.